Now, Ben asked earlier a question about what kinds of impacts we're actually losing when we give up foreign aid. If he wants to use logic, then it's going to be pretty clear who's winning this debate, because the impacts of foreign aid have been clearly, whether by NGOs or by official governmental organizations, have been clearly documented over the years. I talked about Haiti earlier. We see these impacts in AIDS in Africa. We see these impacts in national government programs like Food for the Future. So there are all kinds of well-documented impacts, even if you don't see the exact statistics or the evidence, that clearly show you logically that you're going to be letting a lot of people starve, you're going to be letting a lot of people die, you're going to be letting a lot of people go homeless if you don't have direct foreign aid, whether from NGOs or from governmental organizations. So let's go over what happened in this debate. Ben is essentially saying, I have this idea of what protecting human rights is. We ask, Ben, what exactly does protecting human rights look like? How are you going to measure that? He says, no clue,
UN.
but, the UN has 50%, they have some numbers, 50% of women in your country have to have these rights, and then you're good? 49%, 40%? There's no clear, specific, practical thing that we can look at, and there's never going to be a metric on that, and he can't offer one because I challenged him on this earlier, and he didn't respond. Okay, so Ben, how are we going to do this? I don't know. How are we going to look at it? How are we going to evaluate it specifically? I don't know. Fine, Ben, just go ahead. We'll let him continue. So then what he says is that even if I can show that we have some clear standard, I'm going to sacrifice the people of this country until the government changes. We say, Ben, well, Kenya shows that doesn't work. And he says, well, I don't understand the Kenya example. And actually what I think is that direct aid is bad because it's a bandage solution. So what we say is, no, you're misunderstanding. It's as clear, and it's the only solution to problems like AIDS and starvation and homelessness in these countries. We're not, with the foreign aid, trying to show the government how to reform. That's not our goal. But this keeps the door open on us forcing these governments to reform. This keeps the door open, just like the door is open for the aft to reform governments. So we don't close that door. We can still reform governments through other means, but what we've shown is that conditional aid doesn't work. Conditional aid is this false hope notion that you can force a government to change if you sacrifice enough of its people, but what you end up getting at the very end is a bunch of dead people. Okay, so the impacts are very clear. The harms are very clear when you're voting for the AF. But you don't get any of the benefit that Ben is claiming that the AF gets. Whereas you still get that benefit in our world, and you also get the benefit of keeping people alive. And then to crystallize the op side of the case. Again, there's no standard. That's contention one. There's no way to crystallize the resolution in a way that doesn't make it prohibitively vague. In my previous speech, what I referred to as contention 2 was actually contention number 3, that it benefits the United States. And I show that it pays for itself with the Dutch card. And contention number 2, which is that if you withhold foreign aid, you harm a lot of people in a lot of ways, is because Ben is asking us to use logic this entire debate, logical. Okay, there are clearly documented examples of us benefiting people with foreign aid, whether from NGOs or directly from official governmental organizations, and so it's clear. So what you have here is Ben trying to achieve an impact that is actually available to both worlds, the impact namely being reforming governments that are corrupt or misbehaving, and he's sacrificing a whole bunch of people along the way. Okay, and that doesn't work. So we get the impact, we get all of the good impacts, none of the bad ones, he gets all the bad ones, and that's why you should vote up. Thank you.